I'll hit record and get this going. Appreciate all of you tuning in and our speakers being here. And one of the minor themes in our Mountain Zoom series since we started this back in March of 2020 has been efficiency and stretching out those dollars and living a greener life, so to speak. More people being at home since the pandemic. We focused on things like septic system efficiency and management. We even looking at things like stretching your food budget, more budget conscious food shopping. We've looked at personal finance, had a couple of sessions on that. And as we started planning these sessions, Jeremy Shad and I were planning these out for this fall. One of the topics we realized we never really touched on was household efficiency and residential energy efficiency. And that was one that we certainly wanted to address. And so the question was, who could we get to cover that? And we both began, they were looking at University of Kentucky possibilities, and I started looking through Virginia Cooperative Extension publications, and I came across a whole series on that topic. And one of the authors was John Ignosh. John is advanced specialist with Virginia Tech's Department of Biological Systems Engineering. And I knew that he had worked a lot with solar systems. And we were just talking a second ago about a small scale hydrological systems workshop that's coming up and deals with a lot of those things. So I was excited when he was willing to come and speak about this topic, looking at household energy and efficiency and energy audits and that type of thing. And in turn, then he reached out also to Ethan Heslep with the Community Housing Partners. So appreciate both of you all speaking with us this evening, and I will let you go with this.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Philip, and thank you to all the hosts and for the invitation. Appreciate the opportunity. I'm going to share my screen and go through some slides. Okay, Philip, could you give me a confirmation that you see that screen?
I do. Identifying opportunities to reduce your home energy costs.
All right, perfect. If I don't check, I get about halfway through and find out I didn't do something right. So thank you. And like Philip said, my name is John Ignosh. I'm an extension specialist in biological systems engineering at Virginia Tech. I'm based up in Harrisonburg, Virginia. And again, thank you for the invitation. I appreciate the opportunity to come. My presentation will be pretty brief. I just want to highlight some informational resources regarding residential energy efficiency, especially if you have an interest in trying to get a handle on some of your home energy costs. Look for kind of low cost, no cost ways to tackle some of the home energy issues. And we have some informational resources on that, some program contacts, and looking forward to the presentation after mine from Ethan Heslep with Community Housing Partners. And he'll talk more about some of the weatherization programs in Virginia and in Kentucky. So with that, let me get started here on my presentation and identifying opportunities to reduce your home energy costs. I already covered this. I'll give a brief presentation just to introduce some informational resources, and then I'll hand it over to Ethan. Look forward to the content he's going to share with us. Some general strategies. We do a lot of kind of farm energy efficiency, and we actually borrowed this concept of this energy pyramid. Different groups use it. This particular pyramid graphic is from NC State University, but use this concept to try to say, okay, when we're talking about farm energy, this holds true for home energy. Well, how do you get started? What do you do when you're first kind of looking at getting a handle on some of your energy costs or doing something related to energy for whatever whatever prompts your interest? Maybe it's energy costs, or maybe you want to do something with solar or whatever it might be. Well, this energy action pyramid really helps kind of ground that, wherever brought you to being curious about energy, if it was an expensive utility bill or you saw solar panels and you thought about it maybe for your house. If we look at this energy action pyramid, it kind of helps put things in order, where the base of this pyramid, the bottom there, starts with assessment. So understanding how you currently use energy. And then working our way up the pyramid, we go to conservation, very simple everyday actions. If something's on that doesn't need to be on, we'll turn it off. Basic stuff like that. Going up the pyramid a little bit more, efficiency. So are there more efficient ways to use energy in terms of upgrading lighting, adding insulation, these kinds of things? And then at the top of that pyramid, maybe look at alternative energy sources if that's something you might be interested in. But either way, as we go up this pyramid, we tend to go up in complexity and cost. So things get more complicated and things often get more costly as we go up that pyramid. So it makes sense to start with the basics, the low cost, no cost. Some of the stuff is almost just maintenance type of things that has very significant or can have a significant energy component to it. And the base of that pyramid, again, is assessments, really just understanding how you use energy, whether it's a farm, your home, your business, however it is, just to get a handle on how you're currently doing that. So that's that energy action pyramid. And I like it because it helps kind of put things in context. We have about 25 different publications in a home energy issue series. This is the extension, Virginia Cooperative Extension website. There's the web address. If you were to enter in their energy series, these 25 publications would pop up. Good information on different aspects of this, understanding, assessing how you use energy and looking for ways to conserve and use energy more efficiently. Now, I'm not going to go through all 25 of these, but I just want to highlight a few briefly, just to give you an idea of what's out there with these resources. So this energy series fact sheet talks about estimating appliance use and home electronic energy use. These types of things, be it a home appliance or something you plug into a wall, these things can really add up over the course of time, especially as we plug more and more devices in. So if you're curious to how that affects your energy footprint and your energy costs, well, this fact sheet can kind of walk you through some examples on how to calculate that. And when we're talking about appliances, things like dishwashers, washer and dryer, these kinds of things, hot water heaters, what are some considerations for shopping for, more energy efficient appliances? And you see these Energy Star labels, and how do you interpret these energy guide labels to give you an estimate about how much a particular device might cost compared to some other alternative, to have that information factor into your decision making when you're shopping for appliances for your home. Also, one of the articles is on landscaping and energy efficiency. So landscaping can add value to your property a few different ways, but one of the things it can do too is help with the energy aspects of your house as well. And that's what this publication's about. Issues with controlling moisture in the house for comfort, but then also for issues if moisture gets out of hand with mold. So some of these things, again, some of these energy aspects and home comfort aspects relate more to kind of some maintenance and even some design considerations. But how do we mitigate or control moisture in the house? Because we want some, but we don't do much. Because we get too much, we'll have mold and we can have some other issues as well. Insulation, some considerations for adding insulation to the house and best practices for different types of insulation in different locations in the home. Understanding windows, and again, these labels that come with windows to interpret what they mean in the performance of a particular window compared to another window you might be shopping for. So a lot of kind of terminology and vernacular and all these different applications and components that go into a building envelope of what makes a house a house. And that's what these fact sheets try to help sort through is, okay, what does all this mean and why is it important to me and how can I use it to interpret or shop for different options? Some materials on weather stripping to tighten that building envelope to minimize air leaks. And again, more of these resources along those lines are on the Virginia Cooperative Extension website. you search energy series, and about 25 of them will pop up on different issues and beyond some of the ones I just highlighted there. So I want to show you some things that are out there in case you have a particular interest with regard to home energy issues. You can find content specific to those interests and go from there. And if you're reading something, we can be of any help, you're looking for more information, I'll share my contact information, be happy to help track down more information or try to answer your questions. All right, so but really, where do I begin? So you've read some of these information sheets and you're watching the webinar, but how do you actually get started? How do I start? Where do I start? How do I identify priorities, resources, programs? It can be a bit of a maze sometimes. And the best way to get started. This energy action pyramid, well, it helps a little bit. It's a strategy, right? So it helps them kind of come up with a general strategy. Say, okay, well, if I haven't really done any kind of energy assessment, maybe I'm not going to be putting solar panels in my house, out of the gate square one. Maybe I ought to take a look at how I'm currently using energy, look for opportunities for conservation, look for opportunities for efficiency as I kind of work my way up this pyramid. And that can be good just as a reference point to kind of keep things, in perspective as a general guide, but still it doesn't quite help you pinpoint where do I start and how do I start, those kinds of things. Well, some of these fact sheets in this series also include some generic kind of step-by-step guides in terms of start with this, then do this, then do 3, then do 4, etc. Work from there, and that can be a bit helpful, but it's again it's a bit more generic. But that's there if you're interested in that, and it gives you an idea in terms of some of the main sources of air leaks, and also some materials in that series, that fact sheet series, show how relative energy costs for a home, and based on that, what are some of the common things you might want to look at. So that might inform your decision a little bit more than just this pyramid concept. Another good idea or a good place to get started is to contact your utilities that are providing utilities to your home. Here's an example with propane. Now, your local propane provider would be worth a call just to see if they have any particular incentives or programs. And this is a National Trade Association site. It has a map on their website. The URL is at the bottom of this page. But if you were to click on Kentucky or Virginia, you'll see a couple of different incentive programs they have regarding propane devices that might be of interest if that's something you're exploring, making an upgrade. Now, similarly on the electric utility side, Eastern Kentucky and Southwestern Virginia are serviced by a few different electric utilities. So here's some of their program pages. Appalachian Power has some programs for homeowners, for home performance program, low income weatherization program, and some other programs, as does Powell Valley for home energy assessments, heat pump financing. This is, I think, Kentucky Utilities. They have some different energy efficiency programs. And the main point here is it's worth a phone call. These programs often change over time. Sometimes they can do more or less depending on what's going on, but worth a phone call to find out what might be eligible or what you might be eligible for with your utility for your home. Now, another one, this is a database of state incentives for renewables and efficiency. That's the website there in yellow. And what I did was, this is just a big database for these incentives. And what I did, you can filter with different selection criteria. So I think I put the zip code for Wise County. And then I said, show me the residential programs related to energy efficiency. And then this website pulled up 13 different programs. The list there starts at the bottom of my slide and runs off of that, but 13 different programs. Again, just like worth a phone call to the local electric utility or visit to their website, worth a visit to this website to see what programs might be out there and of interest to you based on what you're interested in doing. So those are some ideas, some informational resources, some program contacts, but it still doesn't really help you too much if you're really just figuring out how do I get started on the things that are beyond kind of the basics, beyond stuff that might be, do it yourself, DIY kinds of things. And I might need a professional to either help me figure out where to get started or actually to do some of the work. Well, you're in the right spot, right? So you contact the local weatherization program. And I say you're in the right spot because the next speaker, Mr. Ethan Heslep, is going to talk about some of these things. Mr. Heslep, he's a senior manager at Community Housing Partners. He's been in building science business for over 13 years. Started off working as a field technician, then energy auditor, then inspector. As technical advisor and performed quality assurance inspections for Tennessee and Georgia and Rhode Island. He holds an energy auditor's license in Virginia. He's BPI certified as an energy auditor and quality control inspector, envelope and duct leakage certifications. And with that, Mr. Heslep, Ethan, I'm going to hand it over to you, and you can go through your slides. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody. Good evening. Let me share my screen here. Alrighty. Fix a couple of things real quick. Move everybody around. Make sure I see everybody. Okay. All right. I think I got the screen up. Is that right, John?
Yep, you're good.
All right, cool. All right, yeah, so as John said, so I work for Community Housing Partners. It's a nonprofit out of Christiansburg, Virginia. The Energy Solutions Division, manage a couple of the low-income weatherization programs for Appalachian Power. And thanks again for inviting me to this webinar this evening. I was asked to speak about a few things. What are residential weatherization programs? Some common weatherization practices, or otherwise known as energy measures. And then I'm going to suggest some of these measures, you want to leave it to the pros. And then some of them are no cost, low cost, do it yourself energy upgrades. And then also have some resources for everyone. And then, where you can learn about more programs in your area. And I've got plenty of links and everything throughout the presentation. And I'm sure at the very end, we'll leave some time to leave them on the screen or share them with everybody. All right. So residential weatherization programs. They're energy saving programs. They're administered by the federal and state government, implemented by community action agencies throughout the United States. And they're focused on those that meet certain income guidelines, all dependent on each state and program. And obviously for those economically I've seen some electric bills upwards of $1,500 before, and that's pretty common in our industry. We go out and help folks that are literally missing windows on their house or doors, and it's a big part of their building shell. And when they sign up for these programs, we go out and assist them, and we can really change their lives. So it's a really awesome program to be a part of, helping those in need. Before I get too far, I've got a couple acronyms, and maybe you'll see some of these a little further into the presentation, but some not so many. But WX meaning weatherization, WAP, Weatherization Assistance Program, DOE, the Department of Energy Program Year for PY, LIHEAP is the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, DSS, Department of Social Services, and HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. So again, the mission of the weatherization assistance program is to reduce energy costs for low-income families, particularly for the elderly, people with disabilities, and children, while ensuring their health and safety. And along with the energy upgrades, again, health and safety measures, smoke and CO detectors, ventilation, ensuring your HVAC system is working properly. You don't have any carbon monoxide issues. Your house is airtight, but also can breathe with mechanical ventilation that's calculated. The the WAP program. It's the nation's single largest residential whole house energy efficiency program. So, and this is just high level stuff. We'll talk about these three big programs here. So the Department of Energy, DOE, they administer the Weatherization Assistance Program, and they have since 1976. Approximately 35,000 households served annually, 7 million families served to date. And just throwing some numbers in here as far as a budget. Program year 2020, the Department of Energy provided roughly $300 million for all 50 states and territories. Kentucky received about 5.8, Virginia 5.9. And the Department of Social Services, DSS, working with the LIHEAP program. It began in 1981, and they have a few programs. Well, they may have more than just these few programs, but they have crisis heating. So basically during the months of, I think, November 1st or November, sometime in November, I believe, to maybe up until March or so. If folks cannot, they have no heat. It basically, if somebody applies for that program through DSS, they'll send out the information to a community action agency to go install a heating system under that program. You also have fuel assistance and cooling assistance in a timed window, and they received, or 2018, they received about 3.6 billion, and that's about average every year, between $3 and $3.5 billion. And the LIHEAP program and WAP work hand in hand, so it's pretty good. And then again, as John was talking about, as far as the Appalachian Power programs, there's LISF, LIMF, so low-income single-family and low-income multifamily programs. Here at CHP, we implement those two programs. Those are both for Virginia. There is a multifamily program in West Virginia as well. And the current program, 2021 to 2025, and I believe we've been doing the single-family program for, I think, 6 years or so. But just to date, 850 households served in 2021, approximately 3.5 million in energy upgrades, and 2 million kilowatt hours energy savings. I think just to put the kilowatt hours in perspective, it's like leaving 150 standard electric space heaters operating 24 hours a day all year long. So it's quite a chunk of electricity. So just to kind of give a snapshot of the Weatherization Assistance Program and how it works again. So again, we've got the Department of Energy. They administer the program to all 50 states, DC, Native American tribal organizations, and 5 territories. And then we've got in Virginia, or in the entire country, over 970 local agencies or community action agencies. And then again, as low-income households apply for the programs, that's where the funding goes. Some common weatherization practices. It's hard to kind of put just some common ones, because somebody goes out to do an energy assessment and an energy audit on a home, they're going to look at the whole house. And so basically they're going to make sure that the mechanical systems are in good working order, and they're going to test it with diagnostic equipment, as John pointed out, a blower door. They're going to test combustion furnaces, maybe your combustion water heater, install or look at your duct work, your insulation in your attic, your walls, your floors. They're going to look at anything as far as health and safety, smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, your dryer venting. Because I think in Virginia, maybe it is for right now, I think your dryer venting is still the second leading cause of house fires. So it's just another thing that we can check when we're doing an energy audit on a home. But obviously checking the windows and doors, their integrity, We can repair minor roof leaks. And I believe there's some other programs now that can actually replace roofs, but not completely sure about that, but maybe we'll talk about that later. And then obviously your electric base load, looking at light bulbs, aerators, shower heads. Yeah, so it's a lot of things in the weatherization program that we could do in a home. So as far as leave it to the pros, I've got some pictures here. The top left being gentleman in an attic insulating. Probably want to leave that to a pro. And same thing about on the right, someone's dense packing the walls. So that's not that typical homeowner can't do it, but it's quite a lot of work on a 2 or 3 story house. In the wintertime, it's pretty harsh. But anyway, and then also your floor insulation too. Probably want to leave it to a pro. And one of the biggest reasons, if you're using blown fiberglass, blown cellulose insulation, is these machines can be very costly. You can rent these from your local hardwares. Some maybe like Lowe's or Home Depot, they may have them, but it's very difficult to achieve proper density of insulation due to just weaker blowing design, I guess, and shredding design. So I'd probably leave it to the professionals to install. And every community action agency should have a high grade insulation machine. And there are several contractors that have these machines as well. Obviously, you want to leave your heating systems to the pros. You've got you want to make sure that your systems are properly sized. You don't want just some general contractor that don't know much about manual J's and D's and S's and T's to install and design your heat pump system and ductwork. So make sure you leave it to the professionals. And I do at the end of this have some resources for you to find contractors that are good contractors. And to the right is a mini split heat pump system. So again, leave it to the pros. I'm not a solar expert. There may be some others on this call that may be solar experts, but on the left here, we've got a heat pump water heater. Your contractor, the homeowner may be able to install this. It probably comes with a book the size of maybe a dictionary, I don't know, but and especially the one on the right, the solar panel or solar water heaters, that is way beyond my skill set. So they are pretty cool to look at. So, ventilation, leave it to the pros. They're not, this type of ventilation, your bath fans and your kitchen exhaust fans and, inline fans, your whole house ventilation, we're not talking about ceiling fans, wiring up 2 wires, it may be, more difficult than that, so, cause there's obviously there's ducting to consider, and whole house, ventilation calculating to consider. So you would probably need to leave that even to the professionals to install. Some low cost, no cost measures. The top or the one to the far left is an electric water heater. It's insulated with a blanket. You can find these at your Home Depot, Lowe's, local hardware stores. They're roughly 20 to 30 bucks. And they do come with a 1-page document that shows how to install them. So it's a pretty good measure to install in your water heater. And insulating your hot water tank reduces standby heat losses by up to 45%, which reduces your water heating costs by like 4 to 9% or so. You've got your LED light bulbs. Those LED light bulbs are just a wonder to me. They were really expensive when they came out, and now they're like less than $1 a piece, and they're everywhere. So you can buy them at a Dollar General now, or you get them in bulk at Lowe's or Home Depot. So definitely worth it. If you have any incandescent bulbs in your house, replace them now, and you'll see instant savings. It may, it'll take a year probably to show it on your electric bill. It may show only $15 or $20, depending on how many light bulbs you have, but you'll see immediate savings. An incandescent light bulb, traditional one, 90% of the energy used to light it is all heat. So you're wasting, 90% of it. And unless you want to heat your house with an incandescent light bulb, which maybe some do. And then you have low flow shower heads. They're $5 to $10 a piece. And there's different variations of them out there now. Some of them I think are a gallon, one gallon per hour now. So, but 1.5 GPH is good too. So, some other low cost, no cost. Again, smoke detectors, CO detectors. These are things that every house should have, especially your smoke detectors. Carbon monoxide detectors really should be installed if you have any combustion equipment on every level of your home. And try not to, maybe this isn't low cost, but try not to get too cheap of a carbon monoxide detector. Because if your furnace has any backdrafting issues or carbon monoxide issues, you don't want to put yourself or your family at risk. So, and then to the right, we've got some just door weather stripping. They've got several different types, foam weather stripping, and then this type here where you screw up and everything. It's that could save a lot on air sealing around doors. So, and it doesn't take that much effort to install. So to the far left, we have like a 1940s refrigerator. And if anybody has any of these in their homes, please go get a new refrigerator. But to the far right, there's a kilowatt meter where you can test your refrigerators or actually any electrical device in your house, and you can see how much energy it's using, and you can put in your utility rate. So it's highly advised to get one of those if you want to know how much your devices are costing you. You could plug it up to a microwave, you could plug it up to anything, and they're about $25. You can get them on Amazon or even Home Depot or Lowe's. And then in the middle, there's a smart power strip. Those are about $30 to $40, and they basically take care of your phantom load. So you have, say, your TV plugged in to the main outlet on this smart power strip, and once you turn off your TV, everything else at your TV entertainment center turns off, and it kills it completely. Because if you have like a Blu-ray player, a PlayStation, whatever, it's all keeping an internal clock, and it does produce some or consume some electricity. So these smart power strips kill all power. But your phantom load isn't too much of a concern, but it's still energy that can be saved. Air sealing. I put this here in low cost, no cost, or DIY section because I feel like homeowners can do this, and it's very beneficial. Air sealing is probably the number one thing a homeowner can do to their home. They just need to look to the right areas. So if you have a kitchen and a bathroom sink, if you open the cabinet door and you see plumbing penetrations that go through the wall or go down through the basement or unconditioned crawl space, it's good to air seal them. Now, you don't have to use single part foam. You could use caulk. Just don't use anything like just fiberglass insulation or towels or stuff like that. You want to use something that actually air seals the penetrations. And this example here, the one on the top right, this is looking up from a crawl space. This is about how large a hole is underneath of a tub, and they could be larger than that. So if you want to air seal your building shell, just go look around in your home and see all the plumbing and electrical penetrations. A lot of times there's some interesting things that you'll find out there. So, and you can find single part foam like this, Home Depot, Lowe's, well, maybe even $4 a can or something like that. These ones here in the middle, I don't know what their cost is, but their guns right here take a little bit more cleaning and everything. But yeah, and if you feel nimble, you could crawl up into your attic, and if you know the house layout, like where your top plates are or your walls are, you could find your top plates that have the electrical penetrations and plumbing penetrations up there, and do some air sealing up there as well. So, and it usually doesn't take that much foam. So, 2 to 3 cans of that stuff, and you can get up there and air seal your house. So going back to Leave It to Pros, I highly suggest and advise everybody to go get an energy audit. And there's several contractors out there that have energy auditor licenses and work for energy companies, and they have the diagnostic equipment to perform this, and they use energy modeling software, so they're not just telling you stuff. They use software to look at your house and see where you're going to have the most savings, from your HVAC system to adding attic insulation, wall insulation, windows, and everything. So and they also have infrared cameras or thermal cameras here. So yeah, right here is a snapshot of combustion testing if you have combustion furnaces or combustion water heater. Just a few things that I've seen over the years in weatherization, and again, we're primarily focused on families that just can't. They're struggling to pay their utility bills, struggling to pay for anything, and again, we take care of a number of different things out there, and just right here to the top left, an This is a dryer outlet, pretty exposed, within hand's reach. We have a kerosene heater on the bottom, only source of heat in the home, and top right, electric cook stove, the only source of heat. So it's definitely out there. And there was a house. I don't want to get too far down this road, but there was a house that there was a gentleman that couldn't afford any wood to feed his wood stove, so he was literally pulling his wood flooring up from his house and feeding his wood stove. So the struggle is out there, and yeah, so I'm very thankful to be a part of these programs to help people out. Different things here. I was talking about backdrafting on furnaces here. This is an inefficient gas furnace here, and what is happening here, this door here is charring a little bit because when the furnace kicks on, the house is at a negative pressure, and flames actually shoot out and scar the door a little bit. So that's something we took care of when we were there. And then over here, we've got a furnace filter, not really doing its job. If you can see, here's the coil and the furnace down here. So, but, homeowner didn't know that it had to be in, down here. So, and it also came with a microwave attachment. So, other things here, top left, we've got a dryer vent venting into a chimney. We've got a bathroom fan that's not vented out. There's no attic insulation, and we've got knob and tube wiring in an attic. So, and then we have a water heater, a gas water heater here, where the flue is not connected to the chimney. And of course, we have a propane torch just sitting on top of the water heater. Top left, I'm not sure where this picture is taken. I actually got it from the Department of Energy. But this mobile home here is wrapped completely in plastic because they were cold. And mobile homes typically don't have that much insulation, and they are very leaky. So, desperate times, more electrical issues, and a water heater to the right. We've got a couple plumbing issues where they just sprayed some sealant on it to seal the pipes. But weatherization step-by-step process. Again, we've got an application, or these different programs have application, and I'll go through those quickly. But there's an application, then there's an energy audit performed. Then the energy auditor develops a work scope for the home based off of energy modeling software. Then there's the installation, and then 100% quality control inspection. So every job gets inspected. And then here's a couple sites here. The top one is for weatherization in Kentucky. The picture down here shows all of the different weatherization community action agencies. I don't know all of them by heart, but if you go to this website, you can find them. And again, I do have the links, I can provide them. And then this is Virginia's weatherization agencies, and particularly Wise County, I believe, is APCA, Community Action Agency. So, just a little bit about the Appalachian Power's Take Charge programs. Here's the links for these programs. Again, there's the single family program, multifamily programs in Virginia and West Virginia, and then the Take Charge map, just Appalachian Power's service territory, provider territory for these programs. And then just some snapshots of the website. If you are interested in this program, you can apply directly from the website. And another good thing is that you could check, if you're eligible for the program. Are you an Appalachian Power customer? Is the electric bill in your name? And do you meet the income limits? So just checking it out all online. And I've got some resources here for you. Again, it has all the links. Residential Energy Dynamics, if you don't know it, has numerous free tools, calculators that you can use. Just put up 3 snapshots. The bottom left being a ventilation electrical usage, but it's just an electrical usage calculator, which is really interesting. If you just put in your wattage, the days per year in use, the hours per day, minutes per hour, put in your electrical usage, and it'll tell you how much it costs annually to run that one device. You've got weather station data in the middle, and then to the far right, I actually did this based off of my household just before this webinar. It looks like I use 126 gallons a day in my house. Pretty shameful, but I've got 3 kids. So, and then as far as locating energy auditors, Building Performance Institute, you can go onto this website, put in your zip code, search a radius, and find any energy auditors within a certain radius. And if you're looking for contractors, there's several contractors on Appalachian Power's Take Charge website on this link here. And then going back to Kentucky's weatherization network, this site will actually take you to all the contacts for the weatherization assistance program. Same thing about Virginia. And if you contact a community action agency, I know it does get muddy about all these programs, but the community action agency, they typically implement all of the programs, and they know about all of them. So they try to do, like Community Housing Partners, for one, we have a service territory, down here and also up here, but we know that there's Appalachian Power down here. We know that there's other utility programs up here. So we try to take all of the different programs and go into one household with all of them. And, so we don't have to go back, several times. We go in there with all of the funding sources and try to take care of as much stuff as possible. But I think that's it for me. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you very much for that information.
Stop sharing.
Ethan, I missed, you were talking about the water heater blanket. I missed the percentage on that. I didn't catch that. What was the percentage?
Oh, okay. Oh boy, 24 to 49 or something. Let me go back.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask if there was a way to tell if you had like a phantom energy drain that was not dependent on appliances, like if you had a short or something that would be bleeding power, because we've put in all LEDs, we've gone to the heat pump hot water heater, we've got low flow shower heads, we've got the foam spray in expanding foam insulation in the attic. So we've done everything that we've had the home energy audit, but we feel like that maybe there's still some phantom energy loss. How would you determine that?
I would probably contact an energy auditor to have them come
Okay.
out. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, bless you. I think, yeah, definitely in addition to an energy auditor, I wonder on the electrical side if you were able to kind of like isolate different loads, maybe at the breaker box, see what the meter's doing, that kind of thing.
The breaker box is actually what causes us to think this. We have a, excuse me, we've got a breaker that throws pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
And we've heard it vibrating, and we replaced it, and the replacement continues to throw. So we don't think it's a bad breaker. We think there's something else causing that. And if it's throwing the breaker, we just kind of thought maybe there's a problem that is causing that. There's too much load on it or something.
So I will say that there are devices that you can hook up to your electrical panel. What are they called? Oh, you know what? I've got one right over here. I've got to hook it up to my house, but you basically hook up these like clips to all of your loads onto your breakers. And basically you download this app on your phone, and it'll tell you how much electrical usage each breaker is using. So I think it's called Sense. There's another brand. You can find it on Amazon. And I liked it a lot more. Sense is I think a lot more expensive, but they're starting to become more popular. And I think there's actually some low-income programs that are going to start implementing these, and utility companies are going to think about, even like incentivizing these things, so people have more of control on their electrical usage in their home. So, I mean, a lot of folks have, smart thermostats now, and they can see, how long your heat pump's been operating, and how much, moisture it's removed in an hour, and it's got all these different features and stuff. But how cool would it be that how much electrical usage your bathroom is using? And I don't know, just certain things like that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So do you know what the alternate is besides Sense?
I think it's Empire or Emporia. I could probably Google it really quick.
I'm kind of nervous about electricity. Is there any danger of hooking those clips up? Are you popping the breaker out and then hooking it up to the?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just like a clamp. I think you literally just clamp it onto the electrical wires, the positive side and the negative side, and I can find it real quick. I'll show you. Sense electricity monitor. All right. Can I share my screen again?
Yep.
All right. So this is kind of what it looks like. So I guess you do have to hook it up to maybe Wi-Fi and stuff like that. But you've got I guess a main lead here going to one side here and another one over here. I would highly suggest an electrician open your electrical panel up and do this. But yeah, this is basically what it looks like. And again, it comes with an app, and yeah, it shows you your wattage and everything. So you could be at work, and just like they got all those different apps for your cameras now at home and everything, you can tell when your refrigerator is open and all that good stuff. So, but if I
That
find
would
that,
be really useful.
yeah.
So good talk, guys.
It's excellent. I had a question, and I know when my wife and I first got married, we lived in a 14 by 58 Fleetwood Festival, 1988, which was not energy efficient at all. But I've noticed before we bought our house a few years ago, we were looking at modern mobile homes, and they seem incredible as far as the efficiency, and it to the point that it seemed like it would be hard to have a stick-built house that comes close. Is that a fair assessment? Are most of the mobile homes pretty efficient that when it comes to these audits?
So newer manufactured homes, I mean, they're definitely better than they were 30 years ago.
Okay. So maybe I fell prey to the marketing of the mobile home manufacturers, but they seemed pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, yeah, manufactured homes are definitely better than they were 30 years ago. I'd still probably, get a blower door test performed on your home. I think they still need a lot more insulation in the floor. There's a lot of times in the floors of mobile homes, they have the rodent barrier, and it comes down, like 3 feet, because they could put all the duct work and pipes and everything in there. And so they put, maybe they put like an R38 on it. But the problem is, above that rodent barrier and floor insulation there, or bad insulation, there's, a gap between the bad insulation and the floor, the subfloor. So where your air barrier is kind of, so, and then, in your air barrier, there's all the holes, right? So you're leaving, your air barrier is kind of like, we're hoping it is the rodent barrier, but how many times maybe there's wild animals that open it up and scratch it, and how good do the plumbers seal it up around the sewage line and the main water pipe and everything. So I feel like there's a lot of room for insulation to be installed, and it'll also air seal it if you dense pack it pretty good. So
Yeah, I just was curious about that. Thank you.
Yeah, and for folks out there, and Philip, considering different types of homes, I mentioned in that energy series, there is one publication on considerations with modular prefabricated homes, those kinds of things, and I think it has some of the statistics in it too. So I might point you towards that.
Okay. All right.
I found that smart home energy monitor. It's important.